It's a good evening to you all, NTV Sport Nights. My great pleasure to have this moment with you. Thank you very much.
All right, Doctor, we hope you will be able to stay with us so that we can have this fantastic discussion. He's not the only one. The other is the State Minister for Education and Sport, Honorable Peter Ogwang. Good evening. Good to have you.
Well, good evening to all of you and to all viewers who are busy looking at all, watching us across the country and the globe. Thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Bernard, unfortunately for you, it does not look as bright like it is the case here where we are. So allow us brag for a second.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you, though. Where are you currently? Okay. Okay. Doctor, can you hear us? All right, we'll try and get to Dr. Bernard Ogwang in just a minute. For now, Honorable, thank you for having us once again. When you see us looking this bright in this facility, what do you make of this milestone to just get us started on how big this is when it does come to sports infrastructure in this country?
Well, first of all,
Honorable, can you hear us, please? Okay, there you have it. Doctor is back. Doctor, we were asking, where are you? Because clearly we are in a way more brighter place than where you are at.
Firstly, I want to commend you for showing Ugandans what government is doing to support sport development of the country. And I'm happy you are hosting my minister, who has been the forefront in ensuring this success come to play. And I'm also happy that you are showing Ugandans exactly what you have been seeing in the social media live through the Sport Night show. I'm a bit of a distant in Bujumbura, Burundi, for the African Union meeting, which is what we call the STC and YCS meeting, which comprises of all the member states. And shortly, my honorable minister will join me, where issues of culture, issues of youth, issues of sports are addressed at the level of the African Union bodies. That is where we are. Our session started today. Thank you.
All right, Doctor, we'll be getting to you in just a minute. But speaking to Honorable Peter Ogwang, first of all, I know you had a game this evening, but my sources say you were on the bench all through. Is that the case?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for accepting to go to Hoima. I think I want to thank National Council of Sports for allowing you to visit the stadium, and to all the viewers out there. Of course, this evening I was playing football, representing my parliamentary team, and I congratulate us for obtaining the trophy, and I also want to congratulate the participating team who have joined us in Kampala. For the project where you are, I think, let me go on record, and facts are facts. Most times when the president keeps on telling the country and advising us to believe in the NRM, people don't. There are those who don't believe in us. But that stadium, I want to commend him and my senior minister for identifying the right contractor, give us a masterpiece of one of the best facilities in the African continent. And I want you to help us to showcase that facility, the rest of the sports fanatics who might have not got the opportunity to be there. It will be prudent that you go and show each and every detail as per what we, as the Ministry responsible for Education and Sports, ask the contractor to do in line with our employment request, which we gave it to him. We also believed in having a multi-sport facility, not only football, and I'm happy that I saw one of the guests there is from the background of the one discipline called rugby. Rugby can be played in that facility because all the measurements were taken into account. Athletics can be played there because the running track is there. FIFA has already certified that pitch as a 5-star. So some of you believe in football a lot. That's the best pitch I can confirm to the viewers we have in the continent as of today. So if you go to the indoor arena, it was purposeful in our thoughts that if there is no football, if there is no athletics, we need to make the facility be able to generate part of the money so that it can sustain itself. And I want to confirm that we have that indoor arena where all indoor games can be played in. Of course, we made it a 2,000-seater capacity, and I want to say that it's state of the art. That's just what I could say, small arena, which is a plan which shows what we plan to do when we talk about the Lugogo project. But in all this, credit goes to the President of the Republic of Uganda and to the young people. He has kept on telling us, some of us who come from that area, which is the Greater North, I'm happy that today we can run marathon in Gulu, we can run marathon in Ira, we can run marathon in Moroto. But the fundamental one issue which all of us understand, if there was no peace and security, all those activities would not be done in that part of the country. I am happy as kept on telling us that even in the Sebei sub-region, where we have the great athletes, great champions, there was a time when our uncles were disturbing them in terms of insecurity. But the moment the president ushered in peace and security, everything is beginning to flourish on the sports side. So the investment government is making now, it's timely. And I want to confirm, and I'm happy that my minister has kept on guiding us on what to do. So to the people of Uganda, the question of infrastructure is becoming history. It's no longer an issue which you are going to be hiding. We have nowhere to practice. We have nowhere to invite other countries to come and compete. It is non-sports tourism. It is now that the government is investing quite substantial amount of money. Of course, I want to thank our move with the FUFA, bring in the Pamoja bid, which was able to bring in AFCON 2027. And I'm happy this has brought in a very good development in terms of government investing a lot in sports infrastructure. But this was planned for in the NRM manifesto. So that is what I expect. The only observation I have on your cameras, because maybe my screen which I have within where I'm zooming from, I'm not getting the best out of the quality of the output which I see every time I visit there. But before I sum up, I want to say that facility is formally going to be commissioned by HE the President on 24th and the Minister of Education and Sports of this month. So I call upon the people of Uganda. We will come up with a program which we shall soon communicate out there what we intend to do. I have already constituted a smaller committee to plan what activities we shall be doing for the official opening of that facility. To the people of Bunyoro and Hoima City specifically, I want to thank them for the support. His Worship, the Mayor and the Town Clerk and the Council, and the Rujumba family, which gave part of the land, the Federation of Uganda for Association, and the Minister of Lands, Minister of Works, which has been our consultant, Minister of Finance, which has kept on making sure that the money is released on time. But above all, I want to commend the company called MS Suma. They have proven to the other parts of the world that once they mean to do something, they can do it. Because you can imagine we signed a contract for 18 months. They give us a stadium within 13 months, 5 months ahead of schedule. So I feel proud. There are most of the people who doubted us. But the reality is here that the stadium is complete and I'm happy you're there to showcase anything. We welcome critics or criticisms where in your opinion, you think maybe not much has been done in terms of the deliverables there, but I doubt whether you can be able to highlight one of the areas you can begin critiquing us in line with that specific project. So I thank you so much.
Wow. Honorable Minister and Doctor, thank you so much for speaking to us, listening to the Minister and also watching him, because I see he's clad in his favorite color, and saying the cameras are not showing as much. I think now, I don't know if the producer is running these pictures. If you look at the ground, everything seems to be in full effect right now. But also, some of the things perhaps Ugandans may need to know. I had a chat with the man in charge of the stadium here. He does not like the camera, Mr. Morat, and some of the things that are very important for Ugandans to know is at the peak stage of this stadium's construction, when it was nearly there, the numbers of workers here were 2,500. And of the 2,500, 2,000 are Ugandans. So that in itself, in terms of uplifting the economy locally here, is quite something. But also the fact that they delivered this 5 months earlier. Actually, Mr. Morat says it could have been less months if this wasn't on a high land. So they had spent about 2 months trying to level things up, and that's why. And also, the confidence, perhaps, even the skeptics, some of us who were quite skeptical, we got confidence in the fact that Suma had already constructed the Kigali Arena, the Conventional Center Kigali as well, Amahoro, the BK Arena, of course, is what we are talking about, and then in Senegal, 2 of them, plus airports, and then this. And I heard you, Minister, talk about the certification of FIFA and all. The one thing that I learned today is that the 5-star certification here of this stuff that our viewers are seeing down here is the only one in Africa. This stadium here is the only one in Africa. And here we are talking even Morocco, Egypt, South Africa. The only one in Africa that has a 5-star rating. So as Uganda, perhaps we are happy about this, but it also comes with some more asks for the future. We thank you for this. Some more asks for the future. Now we want to know from the Minister and the Doctor, now that we have you here, what happens now? This is done, we celebrate it. What happens to the Lugogo Arena? Because we hear Suma was also in charge of this. We need to know how far that is. During Chan, we also heard that Nambole needs some more modifications. For example, moving the change room and the media center, and that was supposed to have been done according to the communication in the corridor during Chan. Now, and Suma was also supposed to be in charge of that. How far are those talks? For example, we need to know as Ugandans, because if we can get this from them, I'm thinking we need to sort that one as well, the arena and the final work on Nambole Stadium. So with those, I mean, we still have you, at least with those, if we can get some feedback, that would be something that we'll be happy about. Over to you.
So I want to say this to the viewers that the government is on top of each and everything in line with the projects I just mentioned. Why are we on top? Is because it is us who have a plan. It is us who are working with continental bodies to host these international games here, which we must follow the standards. So for Nambole, I want to confirm to you that the renovation of Nambole will take place as planned. Whatever you see now, you might not be seeing anything happening, but we are discussing this in the boardrooms to ensure that before we officially come out to give the news to the country that who is going to do what, would have concluded on each and everything. Like you must have seen those days when we communicated to you and all the people of Uganda that Suma was going to construct Hoima City Stadium. So that is what we are doing at the moment, and I can guarantee you within a week we will be able to get it out before maybe even we come in to commission that very facility. On the issue of the arena, it is true. Suma, of course, is the one who was given to handle that project, but also we are still having discussions in terms of the financing of the project. And I think as of now, priority, you all know, is to have AFCON get out of our way. But that does not mean that we don't continue planning in the Lugogo Arena. And we have also been having a few challenges. You know, Ugandans, there are some people who took a National Council of Sports to court claiming that they own the land of Nadati Lugogo. That's a typical case of some fraudulent Ugandans. But I really want to commend my senior minister, the First Lady, who was able to follow it up to ensure that the entire land of which that arena sits is meant to be 12.8 acres. The title has been secured. Those are part of the delays which we have also been having, which of course today is the first time I'm getting it out. But I also want to call upon those Ugandans that for once, let's begin to have our country at heart. Most times, people don't look at the investment in sports as those which bring return on investment. And it takes us time to explain this to more so to some of the technical people whom we always get to them to ask them, please, can we prioritize this? Can we prioritize this? A case study you've just talked about the big arena. According to our statistics, that big arena almost generates about $20 million per year. If you go back to how much money it was spent to build it, was almost an estimate of about $105 million. That is in Kigali. But if you look at if they're generating $20 million per year, it means that that big arena is self-paying, even if they got a loan. So this mathematics, if we come to Lugogo, with the plan we have for Lugogo, it will actually generate almost about $30 million because we have a business plan which we are going to employ to have that Lugogo generate that money to the economy of Uganda. And on top of that, we are also planning with the National Council of Sports to ensure that we begin to ask for money for us to host additional international games so that we continue bringing money in terms of sports tourism into our country. Already that Hoima 6 small arena, I can confirm to you that there are already requests which have come in to have international games of our children begin to take place there. If you look at the economy of that area now, my case study is just that Kabalega Resort. I don't know where you're staying tonight, but that I talked to the manager, I think a week ago when I was there. He's telling me, in terms of his hotel reservations, ever since that facility got to this level, it is now a tourist attraction, is 95% every day full. So this is what we're talking about. Who goes to compute how much money someone has spent in a hotel? How much food he has eaten? How much? So these are things which we're trying to say that any investment in sports infrastructure is one we must welcome, that it can still bring a return on investment. So for us, as far as Nambole is concerned, I want to confirm to you that we're on top of it. We will have Nambole done and ready for AFCON in line with the CAF standards and FIFA. Lugogo, we are on top of it also. We are really working hard to ensure that the same team which has worked on that Hoima City Arena and Hoima City Stadium comes to Lugogo and the work goes on. But that is, we have a plan that the priority number one first has to ensure that we finish up with AFCON. And this is what we need to move strategically so that we also don't cause the challenges in terms of the treasury, because these investments are not small monies, they are quite huge. But for other issues, I think I want to still thank the president, who strategically knows what to do and at what time. And now you've said that I'm putting on yellow color today. These are national colors of Uganda, and it is true, I'm a proud member of the NRM, but today I've added also a Ugandan map. If I had an NRM logo here, you would have now killed me. But I call upon the people of Uganda to vote for you, Capital 7 for president. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. And first of all, congratulations on this. And I know that you take a lot of stick for a lot of things that do not go right in Ugandan sports. So it's only fair that you get the credit when something big like this actually happens. But you talked about generating revenue and how much the BK Arena in Kigali does generate. When you come here, what's the plan? Is it just a sports facility? Do you look at accommodating other events? And how are you going to incorporate the sports community of Hoima? Because from the look of things, it will probably not be very easy for people to access the stadium in terms of paying to afford this. If you're going to keep it alive, maybe you need people paying money to use the facility. So how affordable will it be for the community? And how much are you going to support federations, for example, to make sure that they bring activities to Hoima? Because this is a fantastic facility, but we cannot hide from the fact that it is a bit far from the city. And most of the concentration for sports is really in the city center, that is Kampala. So how are you going to attract the federations whose sports are really, the disciplines are concentrated in Kampala, to ensure that they spread their wings and get to Hoima?
I'm actually happy with your question, and I really want to say this. It's the government is strategic to ensure that these facilities are spread across the country. Like now, you've just talked about Gulu. Are you aware that because of this project, government is going to have an international upgrade of Gulu Airfield to an international airport? And it is already, a contract is being followed up for it to be signed, because we are following it keenly. Are you aware that Peche Stadium, if you've been to Peche, I call it football field, is going to be upgraded to an AFCON standard pitch, CAF standard pitch, which also encompasses about 5,000 seating capacity. Are you aware that that very Gulu University will have the same field? So why are we doing this? Of course, I don't want to first talk about Akibwa, which I also want to interest you to get them and go there and see the works, because I think Hoima has overshadowed what works is happening in Lira. But to me, who is really responsible for follow up some of these projects, Akibwa is also moving, and it's on schedule, by the way, to be ready by 2027. This one is because I think the works in Hoima have overshadowed. But back to your question. The National Council of Sports has a board which is planning, in line with the guidance of the minister, to come up with the regulations on the management of all sports facilities. That regulation, that's how government operates. We'll be able to dictate, because first the consultation process may begin immediately, and I'm happy where Dr. Well is here. I appointed a committee to fast track. By the time now we are getting the facility to our hands, the team from Attorney General has given us what we call a zero draft. And these are legal terms in line in terms of the process of making laws. That zero draft now is meant to undergo a consultation process. And I've been there in Hoima recently. I was having a meeting with His Worship, the mayor, and the councillors there. We're discussing on, and for purposes of us putting up a training pitch in Hoima Boma ground. The consultation process is going to clearly come out and spell out on how much we will be able to give out such facilities for purposes of those areas where this facility is treated to get benefits out of it. Case in point, a team like Kitara FC, a team like Buhimba FC, who might want to use those facilities as their home ground after these big tournaments, they will be able to have a discussion with us in line with the regulations which have come forward. Additionally, we can also contract those facilities to service providers, because there are also international firms which have already approached us. They want to manage such a facility so that for them they pay government money in line with what we will ask, but also with terms and conditions that we will not want our facility to go beyond a certain standard. These are all issues which we are dealing with as government, and I want to say we will be able to report back to the country. But what I want to pledge to you, we will never have a white elephant. Those facilities will continue to generate money and will continue to be affordable for all those sports disciplines to be able to benefit. Additionally, it is also going to help the opening of talent identification and development, because there's also been a myth that all sports disciplines must concentrate in Kampala. Because facilities are in Kampala, Those near Kampala are the ones who are being identified. So for me, that area being now Hoima having that one, Lira is going to have a Kibwa. There's a plan to have regional stadiums in other parts of the country, Mbale, Jinja, Soroti, Masaka, Arara, to go to Fort Photo. We have not lost our track in terms of how government is going to continue with these projects of stadium. They might not be at a level of what Hoima is, but they will be at a level where we will have them at minimum cost, but with all disciplines being fully embedded in the facility. So for me, I want to again say that we are ready as government to continue with our investment in sports infrastructure. In these next 5 years, I'm very sure you will not believe what is here in Uganda. And the good thing with Uganda, we have the talent and there's passion. Two things together will make us thrive. Thank you so much.
All right, there you have it. The State Minister for Education and Sports, Honorable Peter Ogwang, together with the General Secretary of the National Council of Sports, they're still with us. Remember, we're going all the way up to midnight as we continue to speak about not just this beautiful facility, but the improving sports infrastructure here in the country. So all you have to do is keep it here. But also to remind you that we have 2 poll questions that are already up on our social media platforms. And in the next hour, when I do return, we'll be taking some of the feedback that you have been sharing. We are asking, 1, how much do you think this Hoima Stadium will contribute to the development of the Ugandan sports industry? That's the first one. The second one, we are saying, with government intensifying construction of different sports facilities around the country, what do you think should be the next point of focus in a bid to improve the sports sector in general? When I return, we'll be taking some of that feedback. The hashtag to use is NTVSportKnights. Remember, we are proudly powered by Guinness as well as Plascon. Keep it here. You are still watching NTV Sport Nights. I worry for the gentlemen I have on set because courtesy of our very good host, Suma, you can see our tables are filled. Look at Andrew, guys. Look at Andrew. I worry, but I hope by the time we get to you, you'll be able to say a word because, listen, there is so much that you do have on your table. But just to remind you one more time about our 2 poll questions that we do have. One, we are asking how much do you think Hoima Stadium will contribute to the development of sport in this country? The other, we are saying with government intensifying construction of different sports facilities around the country, what do you think should be the next point of focus in a bid to improve sports, the sports sector here in the country? And we do have 2 guests, fantastic guests tonight. One is Honorable Peter Ogwang, the State Minister of Education and Sports here in the country, and the other is the General Secretary of the National Council of Sports, Dr. Bernard Ogwell. I hope we have our guests online so we can engage them. I'll come to you, Dr. Ogwell, because for a number of years you've been, putting out monies for different sports disciplines, teams here and there, traveling here and there for different tournaments, and much more of teams and administration and things to do with that. How important or how did it make you feel for you to finally release some monies? And we're speaking about a facility like this, and not just release the monies, but also watching it come to life. And how important do you think this will go when it does come to developing sport this time around?
Yeah.
Firstly, I want to say thank you to, once again, the Honorable Minister for responding to a number of issues that I would have made my comment on. By and large, we have a strategic direction for development of sports, which is properly guided by the ministry and our political leadership. One of the key issues we identified, which has come handy with the coming to effect of the AFCON into the country and the region, is to see how we can leverage sports development agenda with the construction of modern sports facilities. And indeed, the pledge of government has materialized at this earliest moment. That is the first comment and confidence for federations to appreciate that our agenda is to make our country great, but offer the best opportunities for investment in the sport by our youth, by our clubs, by the people of Uganda. The fact that this particular stadium is a multi-purpose stadium, we have thought over and over with a view that this stadium should make and generate enough resources for government, but also support the federations. We believe that federation will grow their brand by organizing events in such a modern facility. We also believe that it will promote excellence because our athletes, our players, when they go out of the country, they meet some of those excellent facilities outside. So we have brought it home for them. And that means in terms of their performance and participation in the games, they will be better than ever before. We also note that with good organizations and good governance of federations, they will be able to develop their brand better. They will be able to use the best facility. And I note the different partners, sponsors would want to work with a number of these federations and grow the brand beyond the limits. Therefore, I would want to say that the strategy behind the multipurpose stadium development, which is now our strategic direction for the rest of the stadiums we are constructing, like the case of Akibwa, Olympic Stadium in Elira. We have Kacheka Stadium is coming up. We have Mbale Stadium is coming up, and others that I may not mention now. The strategy is to see the national spread of sport development, but also in tandem with the law, the National Sports Act 2023 has put in place mechanisms that require all federations and associations to reach out to at least 75% of the nation, the districts in the country. That means government is fulfilling its agenda to actualize this dream and also the requirement of the law by respective national sport federations. For federations to have 50% national spread. So the big issue would be, do they have the relevant sport infrastructure? That's why the Honorable Minister was very clear that we have a strategic direction and plan which is going to take care of all the nation, all the country. So I guess for now, each of the federations, national sports federations, should have a strategy of how they're going to take advantage and utilize the facilities. As a client and as the host for all these events, we definitely require to give opportunity to host many international events, many sports festivals. That in itself has so many trickle-down effect to the development that we are aspiring. For the people of Hoima City, the local economy, to the nations in terms of non-tax revenue, and to the brand of sport for the country. So by and large, in my opinion, our strategy is in line with our technical expectations, but also our dream to make Uganda the powerhouse for sport development. So this is just one among the many we have initiated, and I'm happy to set good precedents for the country, but also to make us proud Ugandans. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bernard Ogwell. Since you are the accounting officer at the National Council of Sports, this beautiful thing here, I think some Ugandans might be wondering, how much did it cost us as a country, and how did you organize the resources to make it come to life?
Publicized. When the contract for the construction of the stadium was done some months back, about 14 months ago, you'll definitely note that our strategy in terms of, first of all, quality came with the demand to do the work at the level of international rating. That if you want the best, you look at the comparative prices, like you have been in Amahoro. You might have noticed that Amahoro costed government of Rwanda over 160 million US dollars. That stadium is 20,000 seater. Government injected 130 million United States dollars in total for that product, which is a multi-purpose product. There is one thing to talk about. There's one thing to talk about the amount, but I want you to be very, very particular in this and to guide this discussion that the stadium you are seeing is a multi-purpose stadium. You have seen the indoor arena, you have seen the outside pitch, you have seen that pitch, those two pitches as potential of hosting a World Cup for rugby because it has standard measurements for rugby. Outside, you have found there's outdoor sports facilities for netball, for volleyball, many of those. And above all, the kind of environment you feel inside where you have field and track event for athletics, among others. So in all fairness, our strategy is to offer the best, but also see that there is value for money. And I can assure you at the level of government, a lot of audit has already been undertaken to address the aspect of value for money. And I can tell you we are on schedule in that regard. It's worth what government has invested. And we hope to recoup the same because I'm very sure everybody will want to come and have a field and use the facility for sport development, for business. There, if you move around, you might have been shown there's a fantastic gym, there are restaurants, there are offices, there are many things other than the sport that makes the place more busy, even when there's no football, when there is no athletics inside. The stadium will be fully pledged and open for use by service providers of all sorts.
Okay, Doctor Emanzi here, and it's very good to hear from you. I remember you as the General Secretary of the Basketball Federation back then, and I mean, we all know where the basketball offices were in about 2012 at the YMCA, somewhere where you used to sit once in a while. But it is good to see you moving up and up to this level. And this is a big milestone, so I congratulate you. But going back to the issue of federations and Uganda, of course, this is a big milestone for the country, but to attract more attention, it might mean that we need to bring international competitions here. And usually, I've seen that some federations do try, but they didn't have a facility that meets the required standards. You look at the basketball team, for example. I don't remember the last time that the men's team played in Uganda because most of the competitions can only be played in facilities that like one that we are seeing out here, which we didn't have in the past. Same case with volleyball and other mainly indoor sports that have had to travel miles away from Uganda to compete. But this brings an opportunity for Ugandans to watch their teams playing back home. And I don't know, as NCS or government as a whole, do you have a plan of sitting down with these federations to actually interest them in hosting big events in Uganda here? There are many people that love Joshua Cheptegei, but they've never seen him running, for example, because we do not have a facility like this here in Uganda. And yet we are big when it comes to athletics, and there are many more stars that we only watch on television. And is this a big opportunity for Uganda, and how are you going to support federations to make sure that we have big events coming down here, like we saw with Pamoja, like we saw Uganda hosting CHAN, of course, together with Kenya and Tanzania? How involved is the government going to be with all these federations to ensure that we have activity here in Hoima?
Thank you so much, Manzi, for your commendation. And you have not mentioned, I was also in football, was at the level of a vice president. So I've served many federations, including university sport. So my profile is large, by and large, could be the highest in terms of the portfolios you'd want to comment. The other part, in line with your submission, one thing you need to appreciate is that for a country to host an international sports event, that facility must be accredited to meet the international standards for the sport. As part of our deliberate effort in this project and construction works, within the confines of the contract we signed with the SOMA, they are required to ensure that the international sport bodies, athletics, football, rugby, basketball, name them, certify the stadium to meet the national standards. That is qualification number one. Now, this was done with a strategy that once you have got the best certifications, because they are classifications, like you may want to see which category is that stadium going to be granted certification by CAF or by FIFA. You want to know which classification and category World Athletic would grant the stadium in terms of usability and accreditation on the type of competition that can host a World Cup, that can host a junior competition, a continental showpiece, respectively. Now, having achieved that, the rest is with federations to apply to host. Like FIFA did to bring AFCON and CHAN home, these federations have an obligation. But I can assure you, we will be working with them as a government to pursue, to lobby. And there are many platforms to do that, politically, but also administratively. But working closely with the federations, we will achieve to bring the best out of all the international sports festivals at home here in Uganda. And that is a strategy for the non-tax revenue we are talking about. We want a busy stadium, but also to promote the image of the country, to be a sports tourism destination where sport do much more in mobilizing for revenue, but also tourism, among others. The other aspect is the business opportunities that will be offered in the stadium. We are not talking about that, and yet is among the key issues why we chose Hoima, among other places. The opportunities for business for the local community is one of the many factors. That, like the Honorable Minister mentioned, the hotel, which you know, Kabelega Resort, before was not having visitors. But now it is not easy to get accommodation since the traffic has intensified from the date that stadium work started. And I can assure you the total hotel beds in Hoima is 2,500 only. Now, I can guarantee you that already there are people who are planning to invest and put decent hotels to expand on the local economy, generate revenue, but it cut across different areas. So our thoughts is to address the whole ecosystem of development using sport. And therefore, any party, I don't want it to be basically on federation and associations, because our strategy for the country is to empower Ugandans to invest in the sport, but also know what it comes with, so that tomorrow we all protect the interests and the gains government are put in place. So the federations have their roles to bring in sports international competitions, but the local community can also attract. The most developed economies, the most developed cities are those ones which bring visitors. The traffic of visitors to the city, and they cannot come only to play football. So when they come for sports events, I guarantee you the local economy, in a nutshell, grow beyond limits. In transport, in hospitality, name them, and which I can say is part of the proud decisions as a government we have strategically addressed. And if you look at them, those stadiums we are constructing are happening in cities. We have mentioned Lira is a city, Hoima is a city, Mbarara is a city, Mbale is a city, and that approach will help us. And then we come down to the rest of the other structural planning we are doing for the rest of the country. So definitely we expect the whole world to come to Uganda. But I want to give you a reflection you have been around sports, and I see your passion around Lugogo. I don't know whether you have had statistics to appreciate even the current state of Lugogo, which was built in 1957, that we have been able to organize very many international sports festivals in Lugogo Indoor Stadium. If I look at badminton, we had been having international open, where we have over 40 countries of the world. You don't write about those. You don't talk about them. But you don't know behind the scenes what they're contributing to the nation. So I want us to really look at and reflect back. If we could use and take advantage of the current state of Lugogo, what about now that we have and we are producing the best other sports facilities now in Hoima? And of course, even Nambola will be improved to the standard that will shock many of you. So we are in for this. And you should just welcome and thank government for this initiative and continue to support the government for this initiative that is addressing not only the short-term, but the long-term agenda for national development of the country, which puts all of us on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. My question goes to the Honorable Minister, and I hope he's still with us, Honorable Peter Ogwang, because in Uganda, and this probably explains why some people were a bit, skeptical about the realization of this project, because in Uganda, it is rare for projects to come to life, especially in the estimated time. And someone will be thinking, where has Suma been all this time? Or how did the government finally find Suma, a company that delivers this project even way before the estimated time? And the project is so well done.
Criminal.
So, because I'm just saying it's criminal, of course not. But my question to the minister will be, how finally do we find, for lack of a better word in quotes, the right company? Because I want to think maybe it was part of the issue why we have so many projects that have stalled or have not been realized in the right time. And going forward, what other lessons do we carry?
I don't know why you are asking my minister a very difficult question, yet you know that that question is a question for the General Secretary. Because you know, there is in government what we call due diligence. That through the guidance of the political leadership, where the minister comes from, we had to undertake fast, even to confirm, because government wanted the best contractor to deliver the project within the timeline set by CAF. I want to say that the due diligence was undertaken, and there's a fully pledged report, which is one of the conditions in the procurement processes of government. To identify, we look at their track record, there were submissions, we look at their profile, we searched and did all that. We went to Rwanda, we look at very many facilities they did in Senegal and many other countries. So at the end of the tunnel, we identified them as the best. And I can assure you, for all the entities of government development agenda, due diligence is part of the first instrument to be fast-tracked. Then the rest follow. But I want to say that the minister can come in and tell you what happened specifically with the SUMA emerging the best. That security can give it to you. Thank you.
Well,
We're waiting for that secret.
Over to the minister.
We are all ears.
Let me say this, that there's no difficult question, there's no simple question. They're all questions. And I want to thank you for that question. But like I said earlier on, that credit should be given where it's due. Ugandans should all recall that our senior brother, who is the Chief of Defense Forces, has passion for sports. He used to visit Rwanda. And on his visit to Rwanda, the meeting with President Paul Kagame, I think the government of Rwanda found it fit for him to visit the BPK Arena and the Mahoro Stadium works. We had a discussion. That's how we made this company in Rwanda. On his return back home, he was able to have a discussion with the president. I remember very well the president talked to me, it was a Sunday, and asked me to meet that team. That team, Then after I had a meeting with him. I met him. Now it goes back to what Dr. Will has just mentioned. As government, under the guidance of my senior minister, we had to do a due diligence on this contract, confirm whether they are competent enough to deliver us a project which we wanted. Remember, the main point of entry to Uganda was to construct Lugoga. I don't want to lose that point out. In all our discussions on the Lugoga Arena. Now, fortunately, in the middle of the road, we worked, the federation came to government and requested government to support its bid with the other sports federation of Kenya and Tanzania to have AFCON 2027, which again I commend the Minister of Education, Mama, and they for their steadfast leadership. So where did the SUMA come from? Then now we had to ask, after the due diligence was done, we had to ask SUMA to come in and support us to have this facility be constructed. And they had their terms and conditions clearly stated out as per them on the way they do their business and as a company. And I want to say, thank my brother, if you saw it a few weeks ago, a few days ago, himself, he came there to check on, carry out an inspection, and to confirm whether they have done a commendable job. And of course, I also want to commend our technical people so much for there are certain employers' requirements which we insisted on being put in that stadium. And those employment requirements, a contractor is a contractor. If you don't follow up on what you've asked them to do, you don't supervise them, you don't remit money according to their plan timely, then you have a struggle. But for this one, with due respect, they worked as per their plan to ensure that despite a few challenges of us not raising money on time, but for them, they had their money, they never stopped working. And I commend and I challenge all Ugandan projects. Maybe it's not my day because I'm taking a lot of time. If you all recall, I was a Minister of State for Economic Monitoring. I moved across the country, particularly that area and most parts of the country. There I got a lot of issues from what's happening down there on some of the projects. But this one, it's about us getting the best contractor, the best CV, they will deliver. That's what has happened with that project there. So it's not about us praising them, but it's about I'm happy you were there. I really want to ask your team, take time, show the country what quality of work has been delivered in that state. Because people, I was recently in Riyadh, attending what we call World Islamic Games. One of my colleague ministers asked me a question, is that stadium artificial intelligence or it's a typical stadium? I asked him, I'm ready to invite you to come and I take you to the facility. Because they are not believing what is seen on our TV, on our phones. That was a foreign minister of the Republic of a country, which I don't want to quote here. But it's the beginning of, like I said, the NRM has a plan and it works according to its plan. And we're determined to ensure the question of sports infrastructure will become issue in a few years. So for me, I thank you so much for getting your time to be in Hoima to show us and to discuss with you. So we identified the right contractor. Fortunately, they know the caliber of leaders who brought them, and I'm happy that I've never let them down. And of course, the CV is big. You must have heard from Morat. They have been in Senegal. They have been in about 83 countries across the globe. That's also what we are not telling the country. So there are certain companies which must protect their CV besides what they are doing. So it's not about only being in Uganda. Even now I'm told they're in DRC, I'm told they're in Congo, Brazzaville, I'm told they're in Gabon, I'm told, so it is big, and that's a CV. So this one of our stadium is a smaller one. And of course, there are other things which I think they can be able to do. I thank you.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much. Two questions, but the very short one, which is just in addition to what you said about SUMA and all. Nambole Stadium, you gave us confidence and guarantee that whatever is left is going to be done. Is it the same contractors or you have some other contractors? After you answer that, I'll ask you the real question now.
Why are you preempting my work? Why don't I give you the answer when I've done finished my work? I hope I've answered you. Why are you?
Well, okay. I missed that. Could you be kind enough to repeat, Honorable Prime Minister, the answer?
Is it what?
Could you be kind enough to repeat the answer? I missed it.
Okay, you've asked me who is going to work on Nambole. That's why I remember I asked you that. Why are you preempting my work? Now you're beginning not to trust in me when you already...
Okay, Honorable Minister, now let me ask the real question now. We will leave that. We are still building onto the momentum and celebrating this amazing piece of art. Now, in AFCON 2027, we'll have a group here. A group. In Chan, we had one group in Uganda, which had the city in Kampala. And then now we'll have a group in Kampala, we'll have a group here. What does that mean? That means we'll have at least 4 countries, contingents from 4 countries in Hoima. And that will mean the hotel facilities, and CAF go for 5-star. As we speak, there's no 5-star hotel in Hoima. And next month is the new year, which means we'll be left with 1 year. What's the plan of ensuring we have 5-star hotels between now and AFCON to host the 4 teams? And that is just me talking about group stage. Perhaps they could be given a quarterfinal or something. But between now and then, what confidence, how much confidence do you have that we'll have 5-star hotels in Hoima?
If you all recall, when the President and the Minister of Education and Sports came to carry out a midterm inspection of that project, we discussed, I raised that issue with the President. The President did direct the Right Honorable Prime Minister, who is the leader of government business, to coordinate the other sectors, specifically the tourism and the private sector. I want to confirm, on behalf of my senior minister, I have attended meetings where she has chaired under her chairship and invited the private sector of Bunyoro Sub-Region for discussion to look at what intervention government can handle and work with them to ensure that we have these 4-star, 5-star facilities ready. Yesterday, for your own information and to the viewers, Kabalega Resort, before you leave Hoima, that area, that Kabalega Resort is already beginning a construction to upgrade that facility into a 4-star to a 5-star hotel. I'm very aware that there are other hotels within Hoima which are also following suit. But we are going to be there on 24th. I'm very sure we will be able to inform the country on how far government has gone in terms of working in the private sector to ensure that there are 5-star hotels in that facility, in that area. Of course, notwithstanding that we will need a minimum of about 500 rooms, specifically those 4 teams, minus the funds. I'm talking about the team with its workers, which might be about 100 rooms per hotel. So our planning is almost about 500. So we are working closely with the private sector in terms of seeing how they will be supported to have us, most of those facilities upgraded. I thank you.
I think my question is one, with a lot of focus on the infrastructure, does that affect the sports budget in any way? When you look at the money going to federations every quarter or every year, does that eat into it in any way? And What is the expectation?
First of all, there's no money which has been cut from federations. Actually, according to our indicative figures for next financial year, because we have already started discussion of them, we expect to have almost an increment in federations getting additional money from government. So this concept of infrastructure is entirely one area as government which we are concentrating in. Then we also have to support the federations in terms of talent development, to support the national teams competition. And remember, I also have additional money in the Ministry of Education and Department of Physical Education and Sports, which directly focus on supporting our children in schools and those in universities on international competition, and also the talent identification and the grant. We also send money, by the way, to district local governments and cities. As a government, the Ministry of Education and Sports sends about 40 million shillings per district or municipality or a city for sports. And this money entirely goes down there to do certain things which are entirely supportive to terms of talent identification and also national competition, district competition. So government is trying its level best, despite, of course, a lot of competing demands for purpose of these resources. But entirely for federations, what I want to ask you federations is, like Dr. Gwell did say, it's important we must begin leveraging on areas where we have to enter into the private sector. If you've seen recently, I've been in Dubai, and with your very good federation, were able to sign an MOU, the Rugby Union of Uganda signed an MOU with the United Arab Emirates. And that MOU is coming with a lot of incentives which support that federation directly. It's my humble appeal to the president. Only focusing on government remittances to support become a problem. So it's important to leverage on seeing how you get into the private sector. I personally asked the Prince of Dubai, who is the president of the Asia Rugby Union, to support that union of rugby with one or two good companies, and particularly Emirates, because I once said that Emirates is big and is supporting it. Oh, okay, brother, we shall see what we can do. But already the most important thing was having them. So my message is that there are federations across the globe which are standing without government support. And this is where, so that I refocus my money as government to support infrastructure development. The more we have infrastructure, the more we'll be able to do many good things for this country and for our children who will come and use them to their tomorrow. I thank you.
Minister, thank you. Last one from me to you. In the next 12 months, what will make you a happy man? What do you want to achieve in the run-up to 2027 in terms of infrastructure in the next 12 months? And to Dr. Bernard Ogwell, this is something that has been coming to me through friends who use Lugogo. Maybe you could help clear the air. I know there's the whole thing about Lugogo Arena, but there's been an issue of when there are events or tournaments at Lugogo, the restrooms are really bad, the washrooms. What short-term fixes do we have for that? Thank you.
Maybe for me, in the next 1 year, I expect us to finally would have concluded on the project of Lugogo in terms of contract signing and fully having a contractor begin the works of Lugogo indoor arena. And maybe I will ask Dr. Well, the team, to get time and share with you what we have planned to. Of course, it's a big facility, which I want to say might be the best in Africa again. Then now, in terms of infrastructure, the other one, of course, Nambole is obvious. Nambole in the next 1 year will be complete, or 3/4 complete, be ready for AFCON. We expect Nambole to, as the main stadium, to actually be better than that Hoima City Stadium where you are. So the question you are asking for, I think simple, I'm beginning to give you simple answers. So we are dealing with the Nambole, which will be able to have as our main home stadium, which we want to put it at a level where it must be. And for the rest of the people, I will still want to reiterate that we are what is coming up is, of course, the regulations in terms of the operationalization management of those systems. I really want to apologize on behalf of government for what you asked about National Council of Sports facility, actually the Lugogo Arena, the current set of Lugogo Arena. And I want to ask the chairperson of National Council of Sports. That facility, of course, like Doctor said, that these are facilities of 1950s. We have been working quietly, but time has come that putting additional big renovations in it, it's almost the negatory expenditure. So Doctor and the team and council, it's important that as of now, as we still await for the bigger project, most of the activities we're going to begin routing them to Hoima. As we plan to sell, the contractor will be able to fully secure the site once we conclude on our side as government. And of course, there's also a new arena in Makerere. And now we collaborate with Makerere University. Thank you.
I think for me, first of all, thank you, Honorable
Ogwang.
Minister, for answering all the questions. But the one which is basically I try to answer on the state of affairs on the toilets, as asked by Andrew. Andrew, I don't know when you last visited Lugogo, or you have been hearing from the background. We did a refurbishment in preparation for hosting the East Africa Parliamentary Games. And there's a facelift. And the standards, I think, is a bit raised. But I also want to tell you, like the Honorable Minister mentioned, the consistency of activities that take place in Lugogo are enormous. That place is busy 24/7, as you know. And at times, some of the activities that come in late night affects, because workers cannot stay all night. So we have tried our best to maintain the quality of the facility. And that's why it has been able to host very many international and regional competitions, including the one which is being hosted. So I thought you were going to commend me for maintaining the quality of the place better. Some of the moments that come, for example, if you host a basketball competition in a facility which is supposed to host only 500 people, because that indoor facility is meant to host only 500, but you're a basketball supporter, you know how many people always come. And sometimes it's overwhelming in terms of facility usage here and there. But we have always done our best, and we have staff on the ground that are being assigned for to handle those. So there are moments that perhaps certain things happen, but we are on top of it. We do small renovations, like the minister guided. We have already done structural integrity tests for all the facilities, and I can tell you they are overdue for renovations and rehabilitation. So like the minister said, we shall see attention to the new facility in Hoima and Makerere and Nambole once completed. So I want to thank you for the opportunity you have given me and my honorable minister to have this moment on the Sport Night show, but also to make Ugandans appreciate what is on the ground. I want to plead that you do a favor to move in and out of that stadium to show people exactly what you have seen with your eyes, because I know it is night, but what is there is a class of its own. Thank you very much.
Before I end, I
General
want to
Secretary
ask if Morat is there. They should be able to show you the facade, which at this time of the night. And if they had a drone now, that's the right time to put you a flag of any country so that you get to know how beautiful that facility can be. So I would ask Morat if he's nearby and if he's watching, that it's important that you get those pictures. It's very, very important so that you begin to believe Uganda is no longer Uganda of yesterday. Uganda is Uganda of today and the future. That's why we are going. So we are happy for those who are And of course, I think nobody mentioned about the parking. We have a parking slot there about 1,000 cars, and we have underground parking in that stadium there. Part of the parking space, we are to convert it for areas specifically which should be able to generate income for the management of the stadium, because we want to. So for me, I want to thank you. Though I've taken this time, it's very productive time. To call upon well-wishers on 24th, we'll be officially commissioning that state-of-the-art stadium in Hoima. The president and the Minister of Education will be able to bring it. So we'll give out the program in a few days to come. I thank you so much. But I want to invite again you to come to be there, because the sports activity, my brother of rugby, I invite you, if you can get one good team, they fill the stadium. Thank you. Thank you.
The minister speaks about the official commissioning on the 24th of this very month. I just need to, I know you guys have hinted on how beautiful this place is, but to share your reviews one more time. Imanzi, I'm sure you have so much to say, but find a way of summarizing your reviews, so then we get into the predictions, because if we don't do predictions, people are going to banter us.
I mean, like I said earlier, the minister, Dr. Ogwe, will take a lot of stick when things don't go right in Ugandan sports. And no doubt they'll be taking a lot of credit for this project, because if you look at how it has transpired, the amount of time it has taken, we know many projects that start and either do not end or take too long to end. But this one has come, and just a year, within a year, we have a beautiful facility like this. And you just need to move around. I mean, like, of course, we are just in the football stadium here. It's football, athletics, and the other events that you can have down here. But there's the outside, the outdoor courts that you have, where you, I mean, if you look at where some of the basketball playoffs finals were played, that is the YMCA. If you're to compare it to what we have right here, you have to say that the difference is like night and day. If you look at just the outside facility without even going to the indoor facility. And of course, these mean a lot for the different federations and sports disciplines that, like I mentioned to Dr. Bernard Ogwell, I don't know if you guys remember, for example, our volleyball team playing here in Uganda. It just never happens, and that's because we do not have a facility that meets the standards. Same applies to the Silverbacks. There are some Ugandan players who play for Uganda but have never been to Uganda. Why? Because every time we have these games, they are based in the US and they come to play games maybe in Egypt or in Rwanda or other countries that we have around the continent, but never in Uganda. So they've never even had to get that opportunity to come and visit Uganda, because there's no business there. They are full-time athletes, and they are busy with their clubs, and when they come to play, they meet up with Uganda, but outside Uganda. So this is a great opportunity for them to come here, but also a big and massive opportunity, which is now going to be a challenge for the federations that, like FUFA pulled it off to bring Pamoja to East Africa, or introduce the idea to, at least to our government that bought it. The rest of the federations now have the ball in their court, and they've got to do their own work in their federations to make sure that we have activities coming to Uganda, because there is no excuse now. If you didn't have a facility back then that meets the standards, I think now we do. And I mean, we are all going to put our eyes on the federations and see the work they are doing.
Okay, Andrew, your final review before we can get into the predictions.
I'm exceedingly happy, deeply touched, and profoundly humbled and proud to be a Ugandan being in this facility. I'd love to thank government for allowing to be vulnerable and accept that some things you need to learn from the best. And they sat back and agreed to learn from the best. And this was delivered. I'm sure even the president will have been shocked, because the people we've been using hardly deliver on time. let alone in time.
Before we can discuss the quality of what they've delivered.
Yes. And as a taxpayer, I'm proud tonight. I'm happy that my taxes were put to good use. Thank you.
Anyway, and we need to say a special thank you to the SUMA team for, you know, we have fruits, we have
I think
coffee,
we'll do some takeaways,
we have water, we have some very nice cookies here. Where's our good friend, Mr.
Morat?
Mr. Morat.
Well, can you come and say hi to people? Just maybe wave at them.
Say hello for the cookies at least.
Mr. Morat, come on.
Just come and say hello 1 minute.
Just come and wave.
Yes, these are fantastic.
You'll fit in the set, I'm sure, even though you're too tall.
Just need to come and say hello. We are enjoying some
people
coffee,
need to see.
It is important. People need to see a very good host. You know, because it's rare.
He has got a team.
It's rare.
He likes
rare.
to do his work.
He has quite a team. And
not,
there you go.
Come on,
Morat,
come.
Please,
Just come on.
Just come on. You can. Good to have you. And thank you for allowing to come and say hello to the people.
The people are right there.
To start with, well done. And thank you for hosting us. You're such a good host.
Thank you. Thank you also for your participation of today. We are also honored to host you. We are getting close to the end, actually, our journey in Hoima. As Minister of State has declared the official inauguration, which is happening within the month. Hopefully, we will be having the head of state together with the Ministry of Education and Sports so that we unveil and integrate this success story.
Well done. I'm contracting SUMA for my house.
How long have you been in Uganda? How long have you been here?
So it's about 1.5 years now. So we are getting close to the end of Hoima journey. But we wish to have more.
We need to make sure.
How much do you love it here?
No, we are happy to be here. As I said, we are honored to be part of this success story. And since we were actually brought from the neighborhood country, and from our perspective, we still have a lot. And let's wait for the good news soon from the leadership.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
Enjoyed some Ugandan food so far?
Yeah, we are having all the foods that you are.
Is there any that you like in particular so far? Matoke?
Matoke and Ginat soup. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this is some great work really done. It does speak for itself.
Thank you again.